Hello, this is Bridget Rao with Divine Essentials. Okay guys, so we're moving on to the next part of the Munay-ki Rites. So this is the 6th of the 9 rites. If you're somebody that's just clicked onto this and you're like, what are you talking about? The Munay-ki Rites is a series I've been doing for 6 weeks now. And you can go back to the first video that's called What are the Munay-ki Rites with the Healer's Rite, and start the process with us if you'd like to. If not, tonight we're going to talk about the Wisdom Keeper's Rite, which is the second of the lineage rites. And we're going to be connecting with the masculine energy, which last week we connected with the feminine. I did have some feedback in the group from somebody that was saying it was one of the most powerful ones for them. So that was exciting to hear, because I know sometimes, like I was saying last week, these lineage rites, it's like if you're a starseed, sometimes it's not as intense as you know, almost as it's set up to be, because one of these groups may stay with you, and even if they don't stay with you, they may be very closely connected to you. You could have been something like this in a past life. So for the, day keepers, which we did last week, that's the feminine. You could have been somebody that was, a midwife, or you could be somebody that's a midwife in this lifetime. So obviously you would connect deeply with that energy, or those keepers, or those ancestors. But tonight, basically, again, when we do this right, you may find that it sticks with you, or that the wisdom keepers stick with you, and that they're just like there. They're like, hey, we're here, we ain't leaving, we're going to stay with you, we're going to work with you. And if that happens, that's great. That's one of the things that may happen during these rites. If they leave, that's fine. They will always come back to work with you. And I know everybody has a different level of how they work with energy. So you may be somebody that is like, how do I know? It's either going to be like a feeling that you feel them like show up, and like then they don't leave. You know what I mean? Like a feeling that stays with you. Or it's going to be like you see them. And if you see them, that's going to be pretty clear, because you're going to see them show up and then they're not going to leave. And then there's people who hear, so you can, just listen to what they have to say. And then I'm trying to think, what's the other one? There's clear knowing, where you just know. And that's for me. Like, I have clear knowing, so sometimes that's the hard one, because you feel like you're making shit up. You're like, and people ask you, how do you know? And you're like, I don't know, I just do. And then usually when that happens, anytime someone's asked me how I know something, they find out later that I was right, and I'm like, told you. So I just let people think whatever they want to think now, and then when they figure it out for themselves. But yeah, you should just know, or feel, or see or hear. Some people taste. So if you taste a difference that doesn't leave, or you may not always have that taste, obviously, but if you're somebody that has like that ability to taste, you could always ask to see if they're still with you. But basically, you'll know. You're going to know if this is the one that resonates for you the most, or if it's not. And I find that a lot of the star seeds, like I said, may not have one out of these 3 that sticks out to them. But when you go on to the Star Keeper's Rite, which is part of the last 2 rites, which is the rites to come, you may end up having that one be the strongest for you. And that would be an indication that you're from the stars, and that you have a lineage with the stars, and that, that's going to be your pretty predominant one. But even if you are a star seed, be open to these, because like I said, you could be a star seed that's been on this earth more than a few times, and you may have been, a wisdom keeper or a day keeper in another life. Find whoever comes to the Munay-ki, usually it's like you're remembering something you already did in another lifetime. So I'm not going to go on too much tonight, because we already talked about what the lineage rites are and all of that. And we already did the feminine aspect. So obviously last week, balancing out, or starting to balance out your feminine, starting to work on the feminine. That's what we do this week, is the opposite. We start to work with the masculine. And this rite, just like last week, is going to be done sitting. I'm doing it in my room tonight, because one of my little puppies isn't feeling well, and I want to be near her. So basically this is done the same way as the one that was done last week, and the next one that we do will be done just like this as well. The next one is the Earth Keepers, which is essentially what you're becoming through the Munay-ki. So I wouldn't be surprised if people really resonated with that one or felt like they stay with them too. So this rite takes the form of an energetic transmission that connects us to the lineage of wisdom keepers, which are medicine men and women from the past. It offers us the possibility through our alignment with this lineage of wisdom keepers to start the healing of your inner masculinity, stepping outside of linear time and becoming steeped within the medicine teachings and tasting infinity. So the energy of this one, it like connects with wisdom. It connects with the power to break out of that like linear lifestyle that we all live in, and to, you know, see from a perspective of, you know, like oneness. You know, you come out of this, like there's a past, there's a present, there's a future, and you come out into this place where it's like everything exists now. And, you know, I say past lives because people know what that means. If I'm like, your current linear, you know, whatever, if I say it in a different way, they don't know what I'm talking about. But honestly, all of the lives that you lived coexist now, and all of the lives that you will live from this point on, they all coexist as well. It's just on a different energetic frequency. It's on like a different band. So basically you're here and you have other lives that are like stacked out there. And you can connect with these lives by just using your consciousness to either jump forward or backward in time as we see it. But when we start to step outside of that, we start to see that you don't really have to jump forward or backward. It's more so just like changing your frequency to that energy and allowing yourself to like shift over towards it. So there's all these like multiple timelines, and you're here, and how you know, go down this timeline, how you feel, what you think, what you say, it alters your consciousness, it alters your energy, it alters your timeline. And you can, you know, bring things from your future here, you can bring things from your past here. So you're really not going anywhere. You're taking stuff and you're like anchoring it into this now moment with you, remembering it, seeing it, you know, feeling it, accessing it. So that's what they've done. They've also been able to stop like the reincarnation cycle. Obviously they don't come back and live normal lives like us. And a lot of people are coming to that point where you've already been through so many lives, you've been through all the lessons. Sometimes a lot of you are here just to assist in the ascension, so you're kind of just like remembering basically what you've already known, and when you leave here, it's likely that you will not be coming back here. So the legend says that's another thing. The wisdom keepers connect with the mountains. So like last week with the day keepers, they connect with all of the like sacred sites and like all the stone altars and the temples and things like that. These ones connect with the energy of the mountains. And I've noticed that when I do the transmission for the wisdom keepers, we go from the day keepers to the wisdom keepers often, the energy like shifts and the temperature dips. So I've noticed it's almost like being on top of a mountain when we do this. So you may feel like a cold breeze come in and hit you, and it definitely shifts pretty significantly. So whatever you felt last week, this week should be almost like the opposite of it. And the legends say, the ancient wisdom resides in the high mountains. The ice-covered peaks were revered as places of power, just as mountains around the world, from Mount Sinai, Mount Fuji, Mount Olympus, have been honored as places where humans meet the divine. The Leica have come down from the Andes to share Munay-ki, while across the world, previously enclosed Buddhist monks and Hindu mystics are coming down from their mountainous places of seclusion and retreat to share their wisdom teachings with those ready and willing to receive them. The wisdom keepers were men and women who defeated death and stepped outside of time. Their task has been to protect the medicine teachings and to share them with others when appropriate. They hold and are willing to share the understanding that leads to the elimination of suffering. So there's a lot of wisdom that they hold. There's a lot of power that they hold. Just like last week when I said, like, how can I live and use this in my day-to-day life? I've noticed, like, when there's conflict, which these are perfect for what's going on right now in the world, same as the day keepers. The day keepers bring peace, but they're very gentle. I feel like the wisdom keepers are like, wake up, you know what I mean? Like, it's like that old grandma type of energy that's just gonna like not put up with your shit. Like, wake up and understand, like I could go on and on, but basically get people to wake up to like the deeper meaning, the deeper level, to see from a different perspective. You know, everybody's so focused on what the little people in power want you to be focused on right now, and that separation and more illusion and more like, yeah, let's all fight each other and let's all have opinions and let's destroy shit, and it's exactly what's wanted. It's chaos. It's going to lower vibration. It's going to bring in stuff that makes people not so happy, and they go into a lower vibration and they cause conflict. And I've seen tons of people blocking each other, unfriending each other, and it's because nobody wants to look through the other person's perspective. You know, everybody's arguing over, if you say this, it's the wrong thing to say. If you say that, it's the wrong thing to say. So I've just kind of held back on saying anything, because I know no matter what I say about it, it will get twisted, especially right now. So it's like, wait, calm down, and then we'll come at it from a different place when we're all kind of at a place where we're relaxed. But what I would say too is inform yourself. Inform yourself about the whole situation that you're thinking about in the moment, and look into the deeper levels of why this would be wanted by the power, you know, that be. And look at some of the things, you know, like, I know we've got, when we go through the awakening stages, I say try not to get sucked into like the conspiracy theories, but right now would probably be a good time to go look into some of the conspiracy theory people and see what they've got going on, because you might see some stuff that's consistent across all of these places that will show you how things are being planted, how things are being, you know, spun in a certain way, how certain facts are being left out. And it doesn't even really matter what the facts are. It matters what people are doing as a result of the facts that they're being told, or, you know, where their perspectives are being put. So try to break out of that and see from a different perspective. Utilize that seer's right, you know, see through both sets of eyes here. There's going to be more than two sets of eyes for a lot of us, but, you know, just try to go within and get your own answers too. Don't go seeking too much outside of you, because that's when we spiral into that really low place. You know, inform yourself and then go within, and don't let other people on the outside of you dictate where you are at with all of this stuff going on, and just try to use your wisdom to see beyond it. But right now, calling on the wisdom keepers would be great, because it's going to help people who are ready to fight, you know, to give them some wisdom, to be like, yeah, it's not going to get you anywhere. Like, I know the people who are fighting and, you know, doing certain things think it will, but we can bring them the wisdom to know that it's not going to. It's just going to cause more separation. It's going to cause people to think worse than they were about that person who's doing the negative things. You know what I mean? It's like, if you want to be seen in a different light, then do something that's going to be positive, something that's going to come from intelligence, something that comes from wisdom, that comes from the outside of where everybody's little perspectives are right now. So calling on these wisdom keepers, they also bring in joy. So bringing that wisdom and that joy in will help a lot of people. So like, usually what I say, because the way the world is right now, is like, if you're on the bus and all of a sudden you see somebody's getting into a conflict over a seat, you know, call in those wisdom keepers. If you're out and about and, you know, you see somebody having a little conflict, call in the wisdom keepers. It's not normal that we have the entire world at like ready to fight each other, you know, looting and doing and destroying and all of that. So now more than ever would be a good time to call on the wisdom keepers and the date keepers. So I wouldn't be surprised if they stick around with you just even for now. So as you get this right, they may show up and stick with you, but when you get when you get the earth keepers, or when you get the star keepers, they may step back. They may stay with you right now though, because they're needed. So you can also get that information from them. Okay? So like I said, I'm not going to go on and on about this. Basically, once you have this, you can call on them anytime you need to. If they do, you know, disengage, you can call on the power of the mountains, which brings that wisdom and joy as well. You can call on any mountain, any place. You go on a mountain and connect with these guys. They are men and women that you can connect with. I've always seen them as men, Some people have seen like armies of them show up. Some people only have like 2 show up. Everybody has their own connection with this and their own experiences with this. So take whatever comes and just be open and receptive, and definitely use this energy now because it's, like I said, needed. And I'll show you guys again how to do it, just so you have that repetition, but it's just like the first one. So make sure you can see. So imagine you're sitting here, right? I'm going to open Viracocha. I'm going to engulf the initiate, and then I'm going to place my hands on their shoulders to encourage the balancing of feminine and masculine energy. And when I feel like that has done, I'm going to take the pie stone in my hand, and I'm going to create like a tube, which I'm going to blow down the center of their crown to open all of their chakras up. And then I would go to the front of them, and I would connect with the energy of the wisdom keepers at my heart position. And now I'm going to be connecting with the power of the wisdom keepers, their confidence, their strength, all of the energy that kind of connects with, you know, kind of between your sacral and your solar plexus. So also like your relationships, all of the stuff that goes along with the creativity. You know, you think about what goes along with your solar plexus, what goes along with your sacral energy. So you're gathering up all of that stuff from the wisdom keepers' energies, and then you're going to take it to their solar plexus or their belly area, and you allow it to transmit until you feel like it has transmitted, usually 20-30 seconds, sometimes longer depending on the person. If somebody really doesn't feel confident or they really need a lot of power, you bring more. And then we come back to the heart space and we connect to the unconditional love, the compassion, the joy, you know, all of the stuff that goes along with the heart chakra, basically. Gather all of that, bring that to their heart center, allow that to transmit for as long as it is needed. And then we come back to the heart, but this time we're gathering from the third eye. So we're gathering all of their perspective, their wisdom, their insight, their clarity, their memories, their visions, you know, the power to see, the power to know, you know, their integrity, their truth. Just think of like the higher chakra energies, like, you know, those types of energies coming through, and then bringing it to that person's third eye for as long as it is needed, and then come back. And then this is when we're gathering all of their wisdom, all of the energy of the Rite, everything that is needed, and we bring forehead to forehead, and we allow that to go until it is, you know, completed. And then we sit them right back up to the uprighted position, and I come back to my heart space, and I allow for the wisdom keepers to complete the Rite or disengage. You know, they may remain with this person or they may disengage, it's up to them. But I kind of just step back for a little bit and let them, you know, complete the Rite. That's why, like, the end of last week, I kind of just stood off on the end for a little bit and let whatever happen with people. And that's basically it. Then you go to the back of the person and you close Viracocha, and you are done. Okay, and that's exactly how it's done for all three. Just that when you are working with either the day keepers or the earth keepers, you're basically calling on, you know, their power, their energy, their things like that. What is that? Is there something here? Do you see that big like glow? Or is that just me? It's weird. I can't figure out where it's coming from. But that's cool. All right, so yeah, basically that's it. So if you would like to go ahead and get the wisdom keepers right from me, that is going to drive me crazy to know where that's coming from. You go ahead and do so. It could be them. I don't know where it showed up from, but very cool. Thank you guys very much. In Munay. Namaste.